Today I'll be making soft pretzels, the German soft pretzels. And in the process, I'll be experimenting on what works best for the dipping solution, either the lime, the pickling lime, or baking soda. Let's find out. Soft pretzels are easy to make. Today I make two recipes because one is never enough. We'll start out with some milk and the same amount of water. You can also use just milk. And then I add the yeast and the brown sugar. Now, in original recipes, this is supposed to be malt extract, but who has that sitting around on the shelf? And then I also put in 1 cup of water, 1 cup of flour. So that makes this slurry, and we let this sit for just a little bit to get the yeast activated. Later on for the dough, we'll also use some softened butter and obviously more flour. Now, what makes the pretzels taste like a pretzel is that it gets dipped in a alkaline solution. In original recipes, it's lye, as this one. I don't use that in the kitchen. I have never even been able to find food grade lye. This is what I use for soap making. But there are two other things you can do. You can use the pickling lime, and you can use the baking soda, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but first we'll get this dough ready. It's been 20 minutes and this has been sitting, and look, it's bubbling up and getting airy, and it's time to add the rest of the flour. But first, now is the time to put the salt in. Don't salt it earlier. And then the butter I will put in when the dough's almost done with kneading. I always start out with the recommended amount of, let me get this in here, with the recommended amount of liquid for a dough like this, and then carefully add the flour one by one, because if it gets too dry, you cannot add liquid later on. It makes the dough, we call it speckig in Germany, like it makes it horrible. It's not nice, it's not smooth. So start with the liquid you have and then start adding the flour until the dough is to your consistency. When you roll it out, you can always add some more. So let me get this into a nice smooth bowl now. Here comes the workout. So, and to show, that's what I meant by adding flour carefully, not dumping in all at once. See, this is still sticky now, but it was supposed to be 5 cups of flour and I'm at 4 cups now. So I probably at the end it'll be 4.5 and not 5. So add less. And now when it's like this, that's when I incorporate the butter with it, the softened butter, and then the right amount to where the dough just doesn't stick anymore. Still very soft, but not sticky. Okay, here we go. Everything has been incorporated nicely. This is smooth and it's just a little bit tacky, but that's fine. We'll deal with that. Did you see this? Fire ant. When I was weeding the garden, I hate fire ants. Anyway, normally you would let this rest in the refrigerator now for 24 hours. That ages the dough and gives it a little hint of sourdough taste. But for pretzels, for normal people who don't have that much time, we'll make the quick pretzels today. It'll work just as well. I'll let this rest now until it rises to almost double in a warm place, which isn't a problem today. It just heated up again despite it being the middle of November. Okay, now to the alkaline agents. So the true lye, the sodium hydroxide, that's out. It's horrible to deal with. It's good for soap, but I can't use it in here. Then we have the pickling lime. This is calcium hydroxide, and this is easy to find. I mean, I know it's in the canning sections. Walmart, all sorts of stores have it. You may not find canning jars or canning lids right now because of COVID, but the pickling lime still seems to be available. This is usually put in pickles. I also nixtamalize corn with it. I have a video on that. That works really good for that too. It's slacked lime. And we'll do one batch of pretzels with this and the other batch of pretzels with baking soda. That's sodium bicarbonate. It isn't as strong, but it works too. With the pickling lime, you still want to, if you splash it on yourself, you want to use some vinegar to neutralize it. The baking soda is the safest of all options. It's also what a lot of people just have on the shelf at home already. So there will be a batch with baking soda and a batch with pickling lime, and we'll find out what the difference is. It's been about, I don't know, hour, not even that, but really it is warm. It's like, oh, way in the 90s again. This rose nicely. Now we need to punch that down. I don't want the bubbles in it. And flour surface a little bit, a clean surface, and then take it out and start. We have to take the weight of about 4 ounce pieces off of this dough. You can weigh this so they're nice and uniform. I don't weigh mine. I know about how big it is. And I'm not selling them in a bakery. They don't complain if a pretzel is a little bigger or a little smaller. So let me lay them out and I'll show you what they look like. I'll use this and just go down, and that is roughly 3.5, 4 ounces. Whoops, there it is. And then we'll just leave it there so that the dough can rest for just a little bit. And all the molecules align again. And then it goes to pretzel making. So you want to roll this out to about 30 inches. That really is quite long. So here's the whole island. It's a long thing, and you want to leave the big part in the center. And I will take these around. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. And flip them over once. Make that nice pretzel there. And then you take this over here and you pinch it down. With the other one over there and pinch it down. Pinch them really good so that they don't come off when you put it in the lye solution. You can lift them up and twist them. I'm gonna see if I can do that on camera somehow. You see how easy this is twisting? There we go. Let me open it up. Move this here. Move this. That wasn't even twisted right. There, and now we have the worst pretzel in the universe. I would rather not twist. And then I'll put them on a parchment paper baking sheet because they need to go in the refrigerator to dry, get surface dry, so it dries up. So, because right now this would be impossible to put into the lye solution. You would just go stir crazy with it, they'll fall apart. But once they dry up, they're much easier to handle. The pretzels are on. We have one for the pickling lime and one for the baking soda. And I'll make 2 buns with it, 2 pretzel buns, and 2 pretzels little sticks baguettes. So now this thing goes in the refrigerator until I'd say at least 20-30 minutes until it's dried up on the top some. And then this one I have to put on a different baking sheet, and I may make some pretzel knots with it. The second batch is ready too. These 2 will go in the refrigerator now. They're out of the refrigerator. You can tell here they stiffened up because they are cool now, and the top surface is dried up. This is what we want because now we can deal with them. So here I have set up for the baking soda, and you want the water around 90 degrees. I do not boil my water. And the setup for the pickling lime. This has the tendency to settle with the given amount. I don't know why you would think this is done to saturation. I'll have to do more research on that. I will use my hands there, and I have a little bowl of vinegar water ready so I can dip them and just dry them off. So let's see, put the first bun in here. on both sides. It doesn't have to be in there very long. And the other bun in the pickling lime. And especially on tops where I want it. Now the pickling lime gets hot by itself a little bit, the water hotter. And then I'll just take them out. I'm sorry about this camera stuff. And they go back on the baking sheet. And then I will mark which one was pickling lime and which one was baking soda. They're all out. And I marked the baking soda ones with the X's. And we'll find out which ones are going to look better. But what we have to do, we have to score these things. I lost my favorite scoring knife, so I'm trying this razor blade, which is kind of old. And it works, but I think I need both hands for that. So let me score them real quick, and I'll show you how to score the pretzels. There we go. So the buns get scored across the top, and the pretzels get a nice deep score along that belly part. That way they puff open nicely and they don't rip accidentally. And now they go in the oven at 425, and we can see the results. Oh no, wait. Whoops, I almost forgot. These things need some coarse salt. It's not a pretzel without the coarse salt. So get some of this, and you can generously salt them. Most people just peel the salt off afterwards. But the dough itself isn't very salty, so this makes it really good. We wouldn't want to miss that. It also looks very, very pretty. Look here, fresh out of the oven. Some are pale, some look yummy pretzel-y. And guess what? There are the X's. Whoop, where did my X go? Right there. Baking soda wins the game, despite it being weaker on the alkalinity. But this is good news because baking soda is available. Now what you can do to give it a sheen, you can put some milk on it. Some people use cream. I don't have cream. Some people use butter. I don't want to go through the hassle melting butter, but that gives it this kind of little bit of shine, which is nice. And we'll finish this up, and then we'll put the others in while these cool. And then I'm gonna cut them open, and we'll see what they look like. Second batch out of the oven. Yummy. This is from the first batch, and this is the comparison. These really pale in comparison, literally. So, baking soda, total winner. Now to cut and smear butter, and look what it looks like inside. That's how we eat them in Germany. You cut in until the crunchy part over here. Look how soft. So nice. Now I butter this baby. Then you put on a generous amount of butter. Flip it back over and take a big old bite out of it. Yummy. Everybody needs to make pretzels. You can't beat it.